Hey everyone, Bass Crispies here. Over the past couple months on my TikTok, I've had a couple people ask about a particular bass technique that I've started using. And so I thought I would make this video as a tutorial and to kind of clear the air on some of the things about it that I'm not sure about yet, and I'm sure that you still have questions on. I'm gonna call this technique Growl-Fry because it sounds most like a vocal fry, but the feeling and like the placement of where you feel the vibrations tends to feel a little bit more like growl, even though in my experience, it has been very easy on the throat, whereas growl can be a little bit more taxing. Now, to just kind of give you an example, this is what the technique sounds like. It's not very loud, but it is significantly lower, and it does have more of a fundamental to it than vocal fry or subharmonics or other things. So the first thing that you're gonna have to do is wheeze. It may sound a little counterintuitive, but that technique is kind of just a really effective and phonated wheeze. So you're gonna start with a really high wheeze, and it doesn't sound pretty, but this is where the basis of the entire technique comes from. Now, once you're able to do that, the next step is to find there's gonna be a little bit of a crackle if you kind of play around that wheeze. You can kind of hear it in the previous clip because I've trained my wheeze to do that. So you're gonna have that wheeze, and then you're gonna hear that little crackle right at the bottom of the soundscape. And that's what you're gonna lean into. Now, once you're able to do that, it should sound a little bit more like this. Now, you're gonna have the wheeze, but you're gonna have a really present crackle in it as well. And the rest of the mastery of this technique is just learning how to isolate that crackle and cut some of the air and the wheeze out of it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you the different levels, starting with just the wheeze and then adding the fundamental and then gradually cutting out the air and the wheeze and adding more weight to the fundamental and less air. So I'm starting with just the wheeze, and then I'm starting to add that crackle into it. And then after that, I just can lower the pitch of the wheeze to where it sounds just like a really off-putting voice. And then I can eventually lower in volume that wheeze until it eventually kind of disappears. And now what you're left with is just kind of a really growly sounding speaking voice. And then after that, it's just finding the comfort and letting it sit a little bit lower and then lower and lower until eventually you're speaking way normal than your chest voice normally goes. And if you can take it the next step, then you get that really, really echoey, almost like supervillain voice that I've used in a couple of my videos. So yeah, there it is. And like I've said on my TikTok, it's kind of hard to control the pitch of it. So I don't use it a whole lot in singing, but it's really good for voice acting, beatbox, and it's actually the easiest way and the least taxing way to do like heavy metal vocals or screams, for my voice in particular. You know, that's the kind of sound that you'll get that really guttural, and that uses a lot more air, but as you can hear, that is not taxing on my voice at all. That actually feels very comfortable. Now, because it's very comfortable and it's not taxing on your voice, I've spoken entire days like that. I've gotten to the point where I can speak in it very comfortably, and if I'm feeling anything in here like swelling or pain, I'll often opt for this instead. Now, I don't know the mechanics of it super well. My best guess is it's epiglottal because I don't feel the vibrations in my larynx the way I do when I'm using any vocal fold or false vocal fold technique. So I'll preface this with, I don't know a whole lot about the technique. I just have been doing it for several years, and I hope to be able to learn more about it. I hope that this tutorial has been helpful, and as always, stay bassy.